Now moving on to the third personality type, the melancholic. A melancholic's biggest strength and weakness is their perfectionism. It motivates them to strive for excellence always, but it also makes them unable to cope with anything that is imperfect. Melancholics are the polar opposites of sanguines. They're everything a sanguine is not. They're quiet, withdrawn, introverted, and often unpopular people who keep to themselves and may come across as antisocial. They're not interested in trying out new things or having fun, but rather spend their time deep in thought. In fact, they are always thinking. They have a deep thirst for knowledge and are always trying to analyze everything and come up with solutions to problems. They are so persistent that they often never give up until they've accomplished what they want to. This trait of theirs makes melancholics excellent investigators, scientists, and mathematicians. But melancholics are far from bland and boring. They are extremely creative, artistic, and musical. Many great painters, sculptors, musicians, and poets were melancholics, as they are the only kind of people who are deep enough to appreciate beauty, and also have the patience, perseverance, motivation, and attention to detail that is required to create a true masterpiece. This is where melancholics become hard to deal with. They want everything and everyone to be perfect, and so place unrealistic expectations on both themselves and others. And they're so hard to please that anything less than perfect is deemed unacceptable to them. They are very critical, uptight, and fussy about everything. Melancholics don't like teamwork because they don't trust anyone but themselves when it comes to doing a task, as they believe only they will be able to do it the right way. And to be fair, melancholics are probably the only type of people who do things the right way. They are incredibly organized, good planners, orderly, detailed, and extremely thorough with every task. Although they don't trust others, you can probably trust them when it comes to getting something done right. However, they don't start projects and tasks until they are absolutely prepared for it with all the right materials, and often spend more time planning something than actually doing it. This trait makes them procrastinators. They still always get the work done, but it's often at the last minute. Since they are so used to accomplishing perfection, failure and rejection tends to destroy them. They become depressed, moody, pessimistic, insecure, and resentful. These are people who bottle up emotions and are so unforgiving that they cannot move on from a single moment of humiliation or betrayal. They are basically oversensitive, and when they're hurt emotionally, they tend to lose the little confidence and self-esteem they had to begin with. As for their antisocial behavior, melancholics tend to be loners. But unlike cholerics, they always treat others with respect, consideration, and sensitivity. And if they do have friends, they remain faithful to them always. Like cholerics, melancholics are likely to achieve a lot in life, but their constant need for perfection can leave them depressed and bitter. In summary, melancholic strengths include thirst for knowledge, analytical and organizational skills, patience and persistence, being artistic and musical, consideration and sensitivity. And some areas of improvements for melancholics include being more positive, moving on, accepting that nobody is perfect, engage in more social interaction, Stop feeling like a victim all the time. And last, but certainly not least, the phlegmatic personality type. Phlegmatics are the polar opposites of cholerics. They are less goal-orientated and more people-orientated. And their most distinctive quality is their calm and peaceful nature. They are quiet, reserved, and shy. They do not seek attention from others like sanguines, nor do they want to dominate like cholerics, nor do they strive for perfection like melancholics. They basically don't have any expectations or demands. These are people who are just very content and accepting with their lives, no matter how good or bad it is. This makes them very calm, controlled, consistent, and basically stable beings. They are not easily angered or upset. Their moods do not change rapidly. They have a very balanced and proactive personality, and this gives them very good people skills, as they are able to get along with a wide range of people because very few things put them off. Their tolerant nature is one of the reasons phlegmatics are possibly the most likable personality type. They are non-judgmental, extremely patient, loyal, accommodating, and very good listeners. Thus, people are very comfortable being around phlegmatics as they do not make others feel intimidated or insecure. In fact, they are basically incapable of hurting others, even unintentionally. Phlegmatics are able to adapt to others' needs and are good at comforting people in hard times. And they're definitely not as boring as they may sound. They have a witty and sarcastic sense of humor and are capable of making people laugh. Although phlegmatics are polar opposites to cholerics, they also tend to be leaders like them. However, phlegmatics are not born leaders, but can rather be categorized as learned leaders. Although they don't have great communication skills, they gradually realize that they are capable of inspiring others through their diplomatic conduct, love for peace, and their wisdom. Examples of phlegmatic leaders include Gandhi and Nelson Mandela. Phlegmatics often also act as a mediator between two conflicting parties, as they're great at bringing people together and they also like to resolve conflicts. The downside to their contented nature is that they have no inner purpose or ambitions. Their interests are not easily aroused, they are unenthusiastic, and are basically happy to live a mediocre life. This aimlessness of theirs stops them from achieving or even realizing their potential. Another flaw of theirs is their reluctance and hesitance to try out new things. They adore routine and hate adventure or unfamiliar situations. They become stubborn and lazy when it comes to stepping out of their comfort zone. And they're completely incapable of handling a crisis because of their slow, hesitant, timid, doubtful, and indecisive nature. Their inability to handle problems also makes them fearful. They're constantly worrying and panicking when in difficult situations and tend to be anxious and uneasy when in an unfamiliar environment. They especially hate conflicts and try to escape the responsibility of handling a tough situation as much as they can. Their indecisiveness also makes them blank and wishy-washy. They're often unclear, confused, vague, have a hard time getting to a point, and mumble. This characteristic can sometimes annoy people and make phlegmatics a liability in crucial situations. Basically, phlegmatics are people's people in every way, but it takes a lot of effort to stimulate them for action. In summary, phlegmatic strengths include a calm and peaceful nature, tolerance and being non-judgmental, being good listeners, contentedness, and proactive nature and good people skills. And some areas of improvements for phlegmatics include setting goals for themselves, taking action and dealing with problems, stepping out of their comfort zone, being more clear and decisive, and to stop being anxious in unfamiliar situations.